In a sense, members of the community may not have been responding only to a single isolated confrontation, but also to a pervasive, corrosive, and deeply unfortunate lack of trust, attributable to numerous constitutional violations by their law enforcement officials, including First Amendment abuses, unreasonable searches and seizures, and excessive and dangerous use of force, exacerbated by severely disproportionate use of these tactics against African Americans.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that, of course, Eric Holder, part of what he had to say when revealing the findings on the Ferguson Police Department and on the quest for civil rights charges against police officer Darren Wilson. Joining us now is Heather MacDonald, fellow at the Manhattan Institute, contributor to City Journal, and also the author of a great piece that appeared at National Review, a piece on Ferguson, Holder's Damaging Disparate Impact Gambit. Hello.
Hi, Steve.
Good to
Thanks
see
for
you.
having me on.
All right, so what is, I mean, this is kind of like his parting shots, you know, I believe. He wants to leave an impact here, and he wants to imply that Ferguson is evil. He wants to imply that what happened in the Michael Brown case happened in the context of Ferguson, and he wants us to believe that it's symptomatic of small-town America all over, you know, throughout the country.
Well, you know, if you've noticed, Michael Brown has basically disappeared. The discourse has completely changed. The elites media that made Michael Brown the cause of Black Lives Matter, Hands Up, Don't Shoot, he's gone because the Justice Department, to its credit, absolutely eviscerated the argument that he was shot in cold blood by Darren Wilson.
And that he had his hands up and that he said, don't shoot.
That was outright lie.
Yeah.
This counts as a world-famous hoax. Holder, however, to his discredit, before the Michael Brown clearance came out, said he wanted to, as another part of his legacy, change the standards in civil rights cases, implying that, well, the problem with the Michael Brown shooting was that the standard for finding a civil rights violation is too high. That's ludicrous.
Absolutely.
This case would not have stood up under zero standard. But as part of his legacy, as you say, he wants it to be, he's desperate to make the claim that police departments are racist. And so now all of a sudden, Michael Brown, out of sight, out of mind, now we're looking at the fining practices and warrant practices of the Ferguson Police Department.
And as a sidebar, and I don't think it should be a sidebar, in the report where he stated in the Michael Brown case that 6 of the top most credible witnesses were afraid to testify. Mm-hmm. The ones that backed the police officer, the ones that were in cahoots or in sync with the forensics, were afraid to come forward. There were signs in the street that said snitches get stitches. There was a woman so afraid she put a couch by her door so they couldn't serve her with a subpoena. I mean, shouldn't this be investigated? that law-abiding citizens who saw something are afraid for their lives to come forward and tell the truth?
There's a complete taboo about talking about underclass culture and the stigma against cooperating with law enforcement. The same credibility that the media and the elites accorded the Michael Brown story has now moved over, and we're treating the second Justice Department report that has disturbing anecdotes about Fourth Amendment violations, bad searches, bad arrests, but we're assuming that those are true without any hearing the other side. Right. And so we're making the same mistake again, and we're also pretending that it's the police's problem. Maybe Ferguson really is a racist department. I'm still suspending judgment. If the anecdotes are true, and if they in fact represent a pattern or practice, that's a mere allegation on the Justice Department. This is a department that needs more training. But their statistical evidence in this report is completely shoddy.
I couldn't agree with you more, because of the fact that they're, whatever it was, say close to 70% black, and 85 or so percent of the car stops were black. That's a problem? I mean, what are you supposed to do? You reach a quota and then say, oh, that guy looks real suspicious, but we got our quota, let him go. I mean, I don't understand how that's policing.
Well, this is the basic flaw of all anti-police civil rights rhetoric. It's the problem of the benchmark. You need a proper benchmark to compare police activity to. And here's the gambit of the ACLU and every other civil rights organization. They use as a benchmark population. So they compare police activity, let's say 87% traffic stops of blacks in Ferguson, to population 67% in Ferguson, and they say by definition that's racism. That's the wrong benchmark. Police go after criminal behavior. What you need to know is what's the law-breaking rates in the different populations that are being compared, and that's what the Justice Department didn't even try to do.
Absolutely. All right, you touched on this, and this is very important. How far can Eric Holder succeed in, which he incredibly announced in an interview, as you said, in his effort to lower the standard? He couldn't get Zimmerman, he couldn't get Wilson, so because of that, we need to lower the bar. Can he do that?
You know what? I don't know. I don't know who sets that standard. Yeah. I think it must be an internal decision on the part of the Justice Department, because we're seeing this as well now with campus rape, the alleged completely counterfactual campus rape epidemic, where the Justice Department and the Education Department is pushing colleges to lower their standard of conviction to 50%, 0.05. So I guess that the Justice Department may be free to set its own standards. Whether that should be Congress doing that or arguably even the courts, I really can't answer that.
And you know, you touch on that also. The CNN's doing a whole special on campus rape. They're hyping it. Really? They're hyping it. And I just saw a video the other day. We're trying to get him of a young man from Auburn who the law said he didn't rape anybody. The school said he did. And they expelled him, and now he's called a rapist, even though under the law he did not rape anybody. It's sick. I got a son. He's 15. He'll be in college in 3 years, God willing. It's frightening. It's frightening what they could do to get good kids under this ridiculously politically correct witch hunt. And if some people get attacked and raped, the rapist should suffer the consequences. But when it's made up, or when the bar is lowered to, you know, whatever. We'll get into that another time. Good seeing you. I just want to make it clear. Good seeing you. As always, Heather MacDonald. We are coming back, ladies and gentlemen. Ed Morrissey of HotAir.com. Don't go away.